Hey everyone, welcome back to SoulString. Today we're looking at one of the most frustrating problems for people that love acoustic guitars. What exactly are your options if you've got an acoustic guitar like this one and you want to record it professionally or you want to play live with it? So unless you want to modify the body by installing an acoustic pickup or an undersaddle one, you're only really left with a couple of options. So rather than be tied down with cables or fighting sound engineers, ACEMIC has come up with a really smart solution. The ACEMIC AT-5 claims to solve this issue with a simple clip-on condenser microphone. As always, great ideas also have to deliver. So let's see if this does, and in the next few minutes, we'll put this to the test and find out. 1, does it work in a real life environment? 2, does it actually alter the sound? Does it sound good? 3, how it compares to a more traditional pickup or mic setup? And 4, who should consider and who shouldn't consider buying this. So let's dive in and see whether this relatively affordable, may I add, wireless system actually delivers. Let's start with a quick product overview. So as you saw in the little unboxing section, it comes with this nice case and everything is included in it. So you can carry this around and it's fairly decent quality. Inside, what you get are 2 main points. One, as always, it's the wireless receiver that you can plug into your audio interface if you're at home, to the mixing desk, to an acoustic amp if you want. And the second part, which is the funky one, is the condenser microphone with this little arm that can be adjusted. Overall, the product seems great quality. It's plastic, but it feels nice and heavy. You have very limited controls on both of them. You've got a power on here and it switches automatically to the channel. You've got a power on here and they link very nice and easy. Now, the first thing I wanted to double check was how the hell does this clip onto the acoustic guitar? It's actually a very simple and smart design. What you have is a fixed Velcro pad here, one of those really strong ones that don't go anywhere. And in the box, you get a number of accessories. So you also have an adapter, you have another of these little Bluetooth antenna thingies, but most importantly, you get another Velcro pad. And so what you do very simply is you push them together and it makes quite a satisfying noise like that. Then you take your acoustic instrument like this and stick it on the side like so. And then you can very simply angle your microphone over the sound hole. So obviously you can do this in various positions. On the pictures, it actually shows it at the bottom, but I'm not sure how convenient that is for people sitting down. So I probably would put it at the top here where it shouldn't really interfere too much with my strumming, although it might a little bit, but let's think about that when we start playing. Now, there are a couple of solutions that this gives you that immediately pop to mind. One, if you're, for example, using a traditional microphone on a stand, one of the things that often happens is that you need to be stationary in order to get sound consistency. So if you move around a bit too much, the mic is not going to get it. Well, this, because it moves around with you, is a very intelligent way to keep a consistent sound throughout. A second problem linked to that I think this really solves is freedom of movement. It's wireless. Even if you have a pickup like this one, you're still tied to the wire. So if you're live on stage or even in the studio and you'd like to stand up and move around, you can do that. Nice and easy. Problem number 3 that I can immediately see this solving is complex setup. Let's be honest, miking an acoustic guitar takes a little bit of skill. You still need to do some of the groundwork. You still need to know how to mic it. You need to test out to see if it works. Super simple. This resolves it. You put it on. Once it's stuck, you do it once, you know it's going to sound good. And finally, the last problem I think this solves is high sound quality. The system operates on, I believe, frequencies between 600 and 920 megahertz with 16 selectable channels in order to avoid any interference in the venue or the studios that you play in. But ultimately, these are all things that we're going to have to test ourselves in a moment. So let's put the ACEMIC AT-5 through some real-world tests and see how it's going to perform in some likely situations that we all might encounter. Okay, so the first test we're going to do is the basic sound quality. As you can see, I've placed the AT-5 on the front of the guitar. And again, you don't have to do that. You can place it on the top, on the side, wherever you want. For sound comparison reasons, I've kept the Fishman in here so we can hear the difference between the two. test the real range of this ACEMIC, you know what? Let's go for a walk. Let's go even further. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed those sound samples. And let's just move on to some of the practical applications where I think this ACEMIC is going to be really useful. For live performances, definitely. If you play at venues with varying sound qualities, or even small venues with no engineers such as pubs, restaurants, etc., having your own reliable system that you know what it sounds like is a definite plus. It's almost a must-have. It just eliminates that uncertainty of whether the house mic works, what it sounds like, and whether it's positioned correctly. Two, if you're a singer-songwriter, again, I think this is really, really useful because it frees up your movement. It's wireless. You're not tied into anything. You have your existing acoustic guitar that you love, but you just want to amplify the sound. And whether you're busking or working outside, whatever, really nice, inexpensive solution. The third scenario that is specifically relevant to me is that I love this guitar. I love the way it sounds, but I've always had trouble liking the sound quality when it's being recorded. So in a home studio or in a recording scenario, this makes it really easy. You can have a rich, almost room-like sound that often you don't get, and it just makes it really easy to record those acoustic tracks. I just now thought about a fifth application where I think this is going to be super useful if you are a guitar teacher or student on the other. In a teaching situation, this can be a real lifesaver. You'll be able to clearly hear the guitar without perfect positioning. The AT-5, I guess, just ensures that both the teacher and the student can focus on the playing and hearing rather than the microphone or the sound system where it's placed, etc. So again, I can see teachers using this quite a lot. Now, as I say, no product is ever perfect, is it? Let's talk about some potential, and I say potential, drawbacks. As always with wireless stuff, you do have the battery life. The good thing is that this is rechargeable, and according to the specs, it has about 5 hours runtime, which is a decent amount. The second one that I can see is a bit of a drawback is sound customization. So one of the big advantages of having an external mic with a mic stand is that you can customize the sound. Here, the choices are kind of limited. You're a bit tied into the placement that you decide on. Obviously, you could unstick it and put it somewhere else on the guitar, but really all you have to play with is this little movement in the arm. So if you're someone who likes to experiment, maybe by putting it further away from the sound hole or closer to the sound hole, then maybe you'll find this slightly limiting. My final drawback maybe kind of straddles the line between build quality and the whole concept of the thing. Whilst, as we mentioned before, the construction is solid, it is plastic, so I'm not sure extended use over the years how that's going to age. But again, you can't expect too much at this price point. It is very good for this price point. But also the two kind of design features, I'd be slightly careful if you attach it and detach it too many times. It feels very solid in terms of sticking to the guitar at the moment, but I don't know how it will age in terms of attaching it, if you want to move it, etc. A second design feature that I could think maybe might annoy some people, doesn't mean, but you know, we're all different, is the fact that you will have to place it either on the top, on the side, or on the other side here. So is it a bit limiting if you want to strum hard? Is it a bit annoying to have this microphone so close to the strings? It could be. I didn't want to specifically put it at the bottom here because I play this guitar sitting down most of the time, and I could see that in the long run it might annoy me to have it there, hence why I put it here. But I guess that's the whole concept of this. So it's just something that you need to work out where the best position for you is. Now, before we move on, let's talk about the value assessment a little bit. The ACEMIC AT-5 retails at the moment, I believe, for around $90, which definitely positions it as a relatively affordable unit compared to a more professional wireless system. So in my view, when evaluating whether it's worth your hard-earned cash, you need to consider a few things. The first one is cost versus alternative. A decent wide microphone costs anywhere from $80 to the sky. A pro wireless system can cost, again, a lot more than this, say at minimum $200-300. One of these direct mount pickups are often a little cheaper, but you still will get the kind of atmosphere and the in-room sound as you would with an external mic. So these are all things to bear in mind when putting the Ace mic up against the alternatives. The second point, as we said before, is the time saving. No more putting up mics, setting up the distances, getting the angles right, all of that stuff. Very easy. You've got it already on. So that already saves you a lot of time. And the third thing, which we haven't mentioned so far, is the versatility. So if you purchase this for a guitar set, and then you're actually a multi-instrumentalist, and you play the ukulele, the saxophone, this actually works very well with them as well. So it's not only a guitar-focused product. You can use it with anything that projects sound. For me, as a guitarist, I think the convenience, the speed alone justify the purchase of $100. I want to keep things very simple. I want to have them set up very quickly. And those are the points that I would think about first when purchasing this. And this could be the most practical purchase you've done this year. So let's now start wrapping this baby up and move on to some of my conclusions and recommendations. So here's my verdict after testing the ACEMIC. I think it's a surprisingly effective solution to a quite common problem. I think the sound quality is impressive for the price point. The wireless functionality works really well. I've had no issue there. You can see the range was good. And most importantly, the convenience factor is off the charts. Is it perfect? No, as we mentioned, there are a few kind of conceptual issues that I found with it, but no product is. And at this price point, I think it's a really good solution. If those issues aren't deal breakers for you, this solves a real problem at an accessible price point. As always, my reviews, I base my thoughts on whether something actually delivers what it promises to do. And I think this really commits to it and works very well in a very simple fashion. So thumbs up. So to summarize, who should buy this? If you're a gigging musician and you've got an old acoustic guitar and you love the sound of that guitar and have always struggled amplifying that sound, this is a cheap and good solution for your problems. Teachers and students, if you want a clear and consistent sound, this is definitely worth looking into. I actually think that this is one of those rare products that really solves the problem. And it's not just a nice to have. It actually is a very simple solution to a very common problem. So there you go. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever tried an acoustic guitar wireless system? Let me know in the comments if you've got any other recommendations of alternative brands. As always, if you have any questions about the ACEMIC AT-5, then drop them in the comments. If there's any points I haven't addressed, let me know and I'll get onto it because you guys are the boss and I hate asking. If you found this review helpful, do all that malarkey. Press the buttons, subscribe, link, forward, do whatever you want, but just keep watching because we've got some really cool products coming up. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And as I always say, please be good to each other, be kind, love each other, play lots of music, have fun, enjoy it. Don't stress out about silly things. See you later.